Welcome to Daily Armor. Today I'm going to be in John chapter 15, looking at verse number 5. We're going to be talking about that Jesus is the vine, but we are a branch. We're the branches. Verse number 5 says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. When you see the branches of a tree and you're looking at it, you're like, okay, this is I have like a magnolia tree out front. I have a crepe myrtle over here to the side. I've got 20 oaks in the back. You can tell what kind of tree it is by the branches, by the leaves that it's producing, by the blooms or the fruit. If it's an apple tree, it's gonna the leaves are gonna look a certain way. The fruit that's hanging off of it's gonna be an apple. What you see what you see are the branches, but what's been decided what it is comes from the source, comes from that vine, comes from that root system. That's the source. And so as we are a branch, I think about branches is what we see. It's what others see. Branches are also subject to the wind and the storms and all of that takes place. And as a branch, sometimes we get bent, sometimes we get tossed to and fro. We're subject to that, but we're grounded and rooted in the vine. The vine is, Jesus, and he is our source. He is where the nutrients come from. He is who decides what fruit, what kind of branch that are we, what kind of branch am I, what kind of branch are you? Maybe I'm an apple tree and you're a pear, and maybe somebody else is an orange, and maybe somebody else is a magnolia and it's just going to have these beautiful magnolia blooms. We're all different. But the source of every one of us, if we are saved by the blood of Jesus Christ, is Jesus is our source. He is the vine. I think about as being that branch, sometimes things are pruned away to make us stronger, to make us healthier. Sometimes things get on us, and we're the weight of it is weighing us down, and we're not going to be productive. And so the Lord, and the Father, being the husbandman, he knows how to trim some things off and give some relief so that we can produce better, so we can but we're not producing it. But it's not coming from me. It may come out of me, but it's not coming from me. It's not coming from you. You're not the one who gets to decide what fruit that you're going to bear. The source, it's been decided by the source, and Jesus is our source. And as I have been feeling like a branch kind of blowing around in the wind, and the Lord has definitely been showing me that I'm not in control of where I'm supposed to be, of what I'm supposed to be doing, of any of those things. I've just been subject to everything else, but I've not been in control of anything. And the branch isn't in control, and we're not supposed to be in control. We are subject to the storms, we're subject to things being trimmed and pruned, and we're subject to the source of which is the vine, which is Jesus Christ. So sometimes it helps us to understand that some of these pressures that we feel, that it's not our responsibility. But also sometimes when we want to be in control, we have to realize, hey, we're just a branch. We're blowing around. We can't do anything outside of the Lord. And he says he is the source, and that we're going to bear fruit. We're going to bear much fruit. It's because of the source. It's because of Jesus. And when we think about fruit, what are we supposed to be producing? Look at Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. Just to kind of remind us about the fruit of the Spirit. These are things. This is kind of when you can tell if you're trying to bear your own fruit, or if the fruit of Jesus Christ is coming through our life. Because if it's coming from the source, which is Jesus, then these are the kind of fruit that we're going to be bearing. It says in chapter 5, verse number 22, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. If you're kind of looking within at yourself and saying, Lord, am I producing the right kind of fruit? Or, am I trying to take matters into my own hands? Am I trying to fight against thing? Am I trying to revolt against thing? Just look at the kind of fruit that's coming out. If it's from Jesus, it's going to be love. That agape brotherly love. If it's from Jesus, you're going to have joy even in the midst of the storms, even in the midst of difficulties, even in the midst of whatever is your circumstances are. He has this way of comfort and of gladness that he produces in us. He can produce it in us where we're like, this is terrible, this is hard, but then there's this thankfulness and gratefulness that he produces in us that just brings us joy, and joy unspeakable and full of glory. Are you at peace about some things? That's that quietness. Not raging about things, but as I was, over the last few weeks since my mother has passed, and we just had her funeral Monday. Today's Wednesday. We just had her funeral Monday. Over then it took 2 weeks and a day for her funeral. I absolutely was not in control of any of those things, but I just kept thinking, Lord, I'm not in control. You're in control. This is all in your hands. And that was bringing me such comfort. And things they went exactly how he wanted them to go, and when he wanted them to go. It was, the timing was just amazing. Are you being patient about some things? That's that long suffering. Sometimes you have to suffer long. Sometimes you have to wait and be patient. And when we're doing that, that's the fruit that God is producing in us. Jesus is doing that in us, and it's coming out of us as being patient. Gentleness. Are you being kind? Gentleness, are you being kind about some things? Like sometimes I get upset about some things, and the Lord has to show me, hey, be angry and sin not. Be gentle, be soft, be kind. Goodness, upright in heart. You don't have any ulterior motives. You don't have like, well, I'm going to scratch your back. You scratch my back, I'm going to scratch your back. That's not what it's talking about. Goodness is it's just with no motives. Upright in heart, no motives. Being kind, being good to somebody with no motives, with no expectation. Ladies, I know that we probably, I'm assuming you have a spouse that is similar to my spouse, and I'm telling you, if he does something for me, I have to hear about it and hear about it and hear about it. And he'll say, well, now you got to do something for me, and he was like, he wants lots of praise and lots of return on when he does something. And that's not what this is talking about. That's not the kind of goodness this is talking about. This is just genuine goodness, kindness with no motives. Are we being that way to others? Are we being that way to others? Faith, that's that belief, that's that assurance, knowing that we're not in control, but that God is in control, and he wants us to have the faith to believe that he's going to heal in his time, he's going to come through in his time, he's going to provide in his way and in his time. Everything is all about his timing. He is a God of order, and he orders. He's not subject to time. I am, you are, but he's not. And we find out through the course of life how his timing is always right. And we have to believe, and we are assured. We have the faith. He's given us that faith, that assurance, that he's got it, and we can just hang on his every word and believe what he says. If he says that he's never going to leave us, then even when you're feeling lonely, he's not left you. He's not left me. But we have to believe, we have to be assured of that. Meekness, to be mild, humbled. I know that I can get a little wound up, and he will he knows how to settle me down. And he's definitely has done that over the last few weeks. He's definitely done that in my life, and it was something that I'm not able to do through myself, but he did it in me and continues to do that. And it's just being mild about things, humble about some things, not needing the attention, not needing recognition, not needing to retaliate, not needing to be, and this is probably my worst part, is not needing to defend myself. We can get accused of all kinds of things. People can assume that our motives are not pure or are kind or gentle or something like that, and we can be accused of all kinds of things. And I'm so bad to want to defend myself about some things, but I've really, the Lord's saying, let all that go. It doesn't matter what they think about you. It's what God knows about me, and He'll take matters and He'll defend us. I mean, if He wants us to be defended, He'll defend us. He'll take care of it. If there's any kind of vengeance that needs to take place, the Lord says the vengeance is of the Lord. It's not for me. I can't handle it, but He can, and He wants me to just be gentle, be mild, be humble, and let Him take care of it. And when I do that, when you do that, we are producing that fruit that Jesus is wanting produced. And then that temperance, and that's that self-control. I think I have a hard time with that, of letting go of those things that I want. That defensiveness, like I mentioned, with, trying to be, needing to be mild, needing to be meek about some things, wanting to defend myself, and then staying calm in a very upsetting situation, and to be able to stay calm and have self-control, and maybe that there's craziness going on in your life, but you don't want to join in on that. And I do struggle with that, and the Lord is definitely, I've seen Him help me with that, especially during these last couple of weeks, and just don't take matters into my own hands, but use some self-control, and knowing that I don't have control over any of these things, but He's got control over all those things. And if we to remind us back in the end of verse number 5 of John chapter 15, it says, "For without me ye can do nothing." But what that means is that with Him, because of Him, all kinds of things can be accomplished. Not that I can accomplish them, but that He does it. He does it. So remember that we're a branch, and sometimes things get pruned from us. Sometimes things get, we're subject to the wind and the storms that come through when we get tossed around to and fro. But the source is Jesus Christ, and He's going to produce in us and through us those things that He wants. And we just need to abide in Him. What does that mean to abide? Just rest. Just trusting. Just trust the vine. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.